So I recently realized that it's October and it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I've had mixed feelings or thoughts about recording a video and talking about Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I've sat with it and I decided I wanted to record a video to share a bit about my experience with breast cancer twice, in awareness, I guess, of breast cancer. So for those that don't know, I've had two diagnoses of breast cancer. The first one was 11 years ago, and the second one was a few months ago, back in late March, early April this year, exactly 11 years after my first diagnosis. Both have been early stage breast cancer, which I'm extremely grateful for. But it's been a journey, you know. The first time I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I was really young. I was 31 years old, and it's almost hard to think back to that time because it feels like lifetimes ago. But where I was in my life back then, I was a young mom. Sophia was really young, 2 years old. I was working a high intensity job in corporate, and I was killing myself at work. I was completely obsessed with my job. That is pretty much all I thought about. I was very driven and ambitious, obviously my whole life, but it had become a very negative or toxic thing. I constantly felt not good enough, and I was really trying to prove myself over and over again. It was a competitive space. So literally I was killing myself, and breast cancer came to me as a huge shock. I was so young. I wasn't really doing self-exams. I just was taking a regular shower and felt a huge significant lump on my breast. At the time I went to the doctor, and they advised me to just wait a month to see if it was like hormonal, period related things. The thing was still there a month later, so I went to the ultrasound and mammograms and whatever, and off that went. It was breast cancer. And I remember sitting in the doctor's office being like, what are you saying? Like, what the F are you talking about? What does that mean? And immediately, I don't know, I feel, at least for me, there's a part of us, it's almost like a warrior part of us that just kicks in, and you're like, poof, like, okay, it's what I gotta do. I'll do what I gotta do. And again, it was early stage. I end up having a lumpectomy. I think they had to go back once or twice to get clean margins. And then end up having radiation therapy for a few months, and then had to take tamoxifen, a hormonal therapy kind of thing, for many years after. And I remember how scary it was, how intense it was, but I also remember where I was at the time. I didn't want this to define my life. I wanted to keep going as things were, so I didn't take time off work. I think I took like a couple days after each surgery, but then I was right back at work. I was probably checking my emails while I was still on high meds. But my thing is like, just keep going, keep pushing. And yes, there's this thing happening over here, but like, it's fine. People at work didn't even know. They didn't even know. I have people, I just started talking about my health scare a few years back, and I had people I used to work with that reached out since me like, what? Like, I didn't know you were going through that. I didn't want people to know. I think I get emotional. I think part of me didn't want others to see me, I guess, weak, or that there was something wrong with me, or that I was broken. I didn't want to be known as that. I didn't want people to feel sorry for me. So I hardened, you know, and I just like toughed it out. And at the same time, my aunt gave me a book from Brazil. It was about the infinite power of a subconscious mind by an author called Lauro Trevisan, who's Brazilian. And I remember reading that book and devouring it, like talking about the power of our mind and our thoughts, our subconscious to create our reality. And like, even though things were really sucking, I really took that on. I remember going on YouTube, listening, receiving guided meditations. I never meditated before. I was so like intense, like so intense, you know, like I never thought meditation was for me, like for those people, you know, like no way I could sit still and like my mind would be quiet, like please. Like no way. But I started the guided meditations, and you know, I just remember I have these visuals of me laying on the couch in our living room listening to YouTube meditation, and I think they were talking about golden light, and I just remember receiving golden light. I remember going into the radiation therapy and envisioning that was bringing more light into my body. Like I would feel that louder. I remember the machines were loud. My skin could feel burning, but I would imagine that it was the sun, it was golden light, and it was changing, healing my body, my cells from the inside out. I really started to dive into this inner world, got into yoga, and it just like really started a big journey for me. For 10 years, like I read books, did the things, talked about the power of the mind, launched a business that's called Super Mindset. Like this became like a huge thing for me. And I mean, after the cancer, the first time was done, honestly, I feel like the aftermath was worst mentally, emotionally. While like I was going through treatments, it was just like just power through. And after it was hard. You know, it impacted our family planning. I remember almost right before I found out I had cancer, we had decided to try to have our second baby. And I remember having conversations with the doctors and them asking if I wanted to get pregnant again. But the recommendation was to take tamoxifen, and I couldn't get pregnant while taking tamoxifen. And you know, I would have conversations with doctors that like, they're still young, we could take it for a few years, we could pause it. But part of me is like, Sophia's gonna be older later. Like, the truth is, based on fear, I decided not to have a second child, which sometimes I still regret. You know, I feel guilty for that choice, because ultimately I think it was a choice based on fear, like fear of what if I get pregnant and the hormones, and like it brings this thing back, you know. So I decided not to have a second child, which was hard for me, hard for Brian, hard for Sophia. She's aware. I've explained it to her, but still, like, she would have been an amazing big sister. And I just remember, like, I had the aftermath of the surgery, right? There was a chunk of my left breast that was missing. The skin never felt the same because of the radiation. And I just, every day, whenever I get dressed, take my clothes off, I'd see it, right? So it was just always this constant reminder. And then on top of that, like every 6 months after, I would have to have alternate like MRI, mammogram to keep checking. And every time I'd have the exams, there was fear, you know, that would come up, and I would work through it. and then feel grateful that nothing was it. I had to do a few biopsies in between where they thought it was something, and then, thank goodness, ended up not being anything. But then, March this year, they found something. And what I had told myself about that first cancer diagnosis was that it was a wake-up call from God's source universe. I was killing myself at work, killing myself to sell laundry detergent, and that wasn't aligned. Like, the truth is, prior to that, my body had been trying to warn me, trying to get me to slow down. Love people would tell me, hey, dude, you can't keep going like this. But I'm like, no, blinders on, obsessed. And I feel like the universe, my soul, found this way to like smack me down and like send me on a completely different path. So when this happened again, I have done an insane, intense amount of work inside of myself. The obsession that I had towards my career became that same sort of obsession / devotion to my own personal growth. When I realized like the power of our minds, the power of what's happening inside of us to create our experience, I'm like, this is it. Like, I want to devote myself to be the highest version of me I can be. And like, so I did an insane amount of healing and learning and growing, books and coaches and trainings and retreats, like healing modalities, plant medicine, ceremonies, like I've tried everything in the healing buffet because that was my commitment. So when I found out that I had breast cancer again, of course, there was the initial shock and anger and all of that and fear. But I just didn't get it. Like, I've done the work. Like, and it's not like a why this is happening to me vibe, because I have come to know and believe that nothing's happening to us. We're not victims, but I was just pissed at myself because like I've done all the work. What did I miss? Like, what healing inside of me have I not done that I'm somehow subconsciously, energetically aligned for this? So I was really first harsh on myself, and it really cracked me open. I realized that the relationship I had developed with God, source, the universe, is like somehow I was punished. Like, I wasn't on track and I was punished. I'm like, that's not the God that I want to have a relationship with. I don't need to be punished, I started to go deeper within myself and to really connect with like a higher divine truth and wisdom and presence inside of me that was just unconditionally loving. And throughout it, I've known like, okay, this is happening for me somehow. I don't know what the story is. I don't know what the growth is, but there is growth here. I have come to see all the challenges in my life, and especially these health scares, health challenges. I have chosen to see them as initiations, activations, portals of insane growth and transformation. That's what I have chosen to see them as. And yes, they fucking suck. I'm not gonna lie, they suck. I've had the second time around, I decided to do a double mastectomy, reconstruction. There was complications. I just had another surgery like 6 weeks ago. The journey of healing is not complete. I'm still in the journey, but the cancer is gone. They've gotten clear margins because it was early stage. I don't need to do chemotherapy. I didn't need to do that the first time either. And that's a part I want to share. Like, when it comes to breast cancer awareness or conversations around breast cancer, I didn't want to like share necessarily my story or experience, because part of me was like, I didn't have it as bad as many women do. You know, I didn't have to have chemo, thank goodness. So I don't, that's not deserve, but like it's not my story to share. Like it wasn't as bad for me as it was or has been or is for many women. So like I shouldn't share. It's like my pain or suffering somehow wasn't as big. Like it's like, as I say this out loud, it sounds so ridiculous and silly, but it's like, the truth is breast cancer has completely changed my life twice. It has impacted my family's lives, and it still is. It doesn't, my experience is different from everybody, but it doesn't make my story wrong or less valuable to share. So I'm sharing. Not because I want to be known as a breast cancer survivor. I actually, it's hard for me to say this. I trust that whoever hears this hears with the love in my heart and my truth. Like, especially the second time around, I didn't experience as me fighting the cancer. The first time I think I did. It's like, oh, let's just power this thing through. The second time, I'm like, somehow my body made the cells. Somehow my soul, God, chose this path for me, this experience for me. Nothing is happening to me. I am not a victim. I didn't consciously choose this, because that's bullshit. You know, the part of me that was beating myself up for like, how did I create this? Like, I can't have created this. Like, obviously I didn't. We don't sign up for pain consciously. Like, maybe unconsciously, but like not consciously. But I do believe for some reason my soul, God, felt like this was for my highest good. So I wasn't fighting it. Instead, I decided to open my heart and to love my body. How can I love my body more? Not be pissed at it because it failed. Not be mad at my breasts because they're trying to kill me. Not be judgmental of what my body looks like or doesn't look like. But how can I love myself? How can I love my body? How can I love the cells in my body? How can I love the parts of my body that have been used and are being used to reconstruct my breast? It's a fucking miracle. It's a miracle. So to me, especially the second version, the second path of cancer, has been a heart opener to love myself, to reconnect with my body. I've been so harsh on my body. Even when I started this path of inner growth, spiritual growth, to me, I really focused more on the spiritual, the mental. I was still disconnected from my body. But what if our bodies contain such deep wisdom? What if they're communicating with us, they're guiding us? And what was that my body, my breasts were asking me? And when I sat with that, it was to love. To love. To surrender. I have been hearing the theme of surrender for years now, and I'm like, I don't know what does that mean? I'm not surrendering. Like, I have a plan, a vision, and I gotta make it happen. And I've heard recently about these levels of consciousness, the to me, by me, through me, as me. And before the first breast cancer diagnosis, I was in the to me. I was a victim. I was caught up in all the drama at work. It was a shit show. Then it became by me. I learned about the power of my mind. I'm like, I'm going to manifest, create, and a lot of beautiful things happened. You know, I took my power back. I had an amazing career in corporate. I reached the levels and the dreams that I desired. And then my dreams changed. And I wanted to leave corporate and create my own business, my own coaching business. And I did all of the work, all the belief transformation, inner work to go through that journey. And it was still by me. I mean, even though I have been getting more and more spiritual, I desire to feel connection. I desired to co-create with God. I wasn't allowing it. I was still like with my hands all over it, trying to make things happen, to push, to prove, to manipulate. So this was really inviting me to open my heart, to surrender to a deeper, higher connection with the divine, to live my life that way, to actually live my life that way, to not just be something I read in the book anymore, but to live it. I have realized that all of these challenges that I've gone through, and I believe that we go through, we can choose to see them from a higher perspective. And trust me, I know it's so hard when you're in it, especially when you're in the middle of the fucking storm and there's cloudy and there are thunderstorms and you're kind of feeling lost in there. It's really hard to have a higher perspective. It's really hard not to ask why. Why is this happening to me? Why am I being punished again? How am I messing things up? It's so easy to go there. But I don't think that's the higher perspective. We have a choice to see it differently, to see the gold in it, to alchemize it, to alchemize the pain into gold, into growth, into transformation. And sometimes when we're in the middle of the storm, we can't quite see it. But at least for me, I've looked back and I've practiced this enough that this time, while I was in the middle of the storm and everything in me was raging and fighting and sad and angry and all of the things, while all of that was happening, there was still this like pillar of, even though sometimes it was damn truth of like, God, I do know this is happening for me some way, somehow. I don't know what it is right now, but I believe it. I have faith, and I know it will crystallize, and it has already crystallized some, and more is coming. And I feel like the next level is, it's not only happening for me, it's happening by me. This was, even though again I wouldn't have signed up for it, my soul somehow signed up for this. And at first I was kind of pissed at my soul, like, dude, choose some other things. Like, what else is on the menu? Like, I mean, yes, I want to like grow, transform, and if there's like an accelerated path, like, I'm all for it. But like, where was the fine print, the legal disclaimer for what I was saying yes to? Like, I didn't mean this. But we are stronger than we think, you know? And I believe everything's happening for us. It's happening by us, not by us, not the human me, like, but the higher us, the one that's infinite wisdom and light, one with God, source, the universe, that us. And can I have faith? Can I open my heart just a little bit more and more and more and more? So I'm not trying to smear pink paint on this or make it look pretty, rosy. Not at all. And again, if somebody is experiencing cancer, breast cancer, anything like it, I honor you so deeply. I know it can just crack us open. And here's another thing I wanted to share. And then this video's getting long, so I'll stop there. But the one last thing, I remember when I found out the cancer came back. It's like I knew I've I don't know, maybe connected more and more with my intuition. I can hear the voice of God, source, universe, my higher self in my mind, it's like my heart. I kind of knew. I knew this wasn't like my death. Even before I found out exactly what it was and they did the biopsy, like I just like, it's okay. I kind of had this knowing, like all to say that I didn't feel the fear of death. And even if you, like and maybe it's because I've done a lot of spirituals, like we're infinite souls living this human experience, and I've come to more and more come to peace. Like if my soul has a plan for when I'm gonna go, it's okay. Like, but what hurt the most, again, it wasn't fear of death. It was this fear of like, but what if I haven't lived everything that I'm here to live? I haven't shared what I'm here to share yet. I haven't lived into my soul's potential. I believe we all have a mission. And like I feel like I haven't lived it yet. I haven't sung my song, as they say. I haven't yet. So I can't go. And there was this clarity, and not urgency, not like lack of time urgency, but I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Not doing what I'm here to do. Like, if the first cancer diagnosis, health scares, like woke me up from my killing myself at work and being like, that can't be it. Like, I'm not here to kill myself to sell soap. What am I here for? What is this about? You know, started this big journey. I mean, and the second one is like, why am I holding myself back? Why am I playing small? Why am I not sharing my light? Why am I holding anything back? It's a precious life. Like, are we living it fully? Are we being our true selves? Are we living our dreams or moving towards it? Or not? And if not, then why? Like, what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? Thanks for listening to me. If you're still here, almost after 30 minutes in, I just wanted to share my heart, my personal journey with breast cancer, honoring everybody going through similar journeys, and sending you love and light. All right, big hugs. Bye.